Welcome to Not in a Huff with Jackson Huff, where we interview newsmakers, storytellers, and all-around interesting people. Sit back, relax, unless you're driving, and enjoy the show. Here's Jackson.
Hello. I am Jackson Huff. This is Not in a Huff. Thanks for joining me. As always, really appreciate it. This week, we're kind of diving back into the world of memes. If you remember, oh goodness, about a year ago, I spoke with Disaster Girl. We talked all about, growing up a meme. 4 or 5 years old, she, took a crazy picture that went viral several years later, and just what her life has looked like now, being kind of an internet sensation. It was prior to NFTs, where she made a ton of money. This time we are talking with Brett Ambler. Now, his viral sensation was not a picture, it was actually a video. Brett Ambler is also known as Kazoo Kid. He is, an adult now, but in 1980 something, I believe it was 86, he says it in here, but in 1980 something, late 80s, there was a video that came out with a kazoo. People bought kazoos for their kids, and then they got to watch a video where their friend Brett taught them not necessarily how to play the kazoo, but how to have fun with that kazoo with his friends as well. There's tons and tons of videos and just little short snippets from that 30-minute video. I told them that I didn't even know it was 30 minutes, before. I've always just seen these short little snippets. But there's some really fun lines that have just went viral, just the way that, I don't know, I think it's just very stereotypically 80s with his bowl cut and his just zest for life that has really became a thing of its own. If you don't know what I'm talking about, he's actually going to say some of those lines. I don't want to say them now. I'd rather him say them in his voice. I think that's a little bit better, but I'm sure you've seen Kazoo Kid. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. What a pleasure to speak with Brett. He's done so many amazing things in the 30 plus years since the video came out. He's still a professional actor. This is kind of what started his passion for acting, so I thought that was really, really awesome. He talks about a play that he was currently in. It's actually just ended this past month, but do check him out in future plays. But yeah, I think you're going to enjoy this one. Just kind of where they are now, where are they now, with somebody who kind of took the internet by storm and is still doing some really cool things. So without further ado, here's Brett Ambler. I'm here today with Brett Ambler. Brett, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me. We've had to reschedule this a few times, so I appreciate your patience with that. I've got quite a few questions for you, but before we get to that, just kind of introduce yourself, if you would.
My name's Brett Ambler. If you've seen the name before, it's probably because of the Kazoo Kid meme featuring my 8-year-old face as a bowl-cutted, blonde-haired little boy. Dancing, singing, pretending, kazooing, and having fun.
I like it. You've already kind of touched on a few of my other questions here, but I want to kind of ask you a little bit about yourself as a kid before this. I mean, what was life like for Brett before he was in this Kazoo Kid, thing? I don't know. I guess I just wonder, were you a child actor, or what happened here? Kind of tell us a little bit how this happened.
Sure. No, the Kazoo Kid was my first foray into acting and performing. I'd been in, the end of the school performance at the elementary school every year that we did that, but nothing of any note. I was just a normal, weird little kid from Reading, Connecticut, and played with my friends, made stuff up. And but no, I wasn't really particularly into like acting or singing before this audition came about. And I found myself in that great position, and I've been following it ever since.
Tell us exactly how that came about. I know that it's I've watched a few of your other interviews, so I know a little bit about. I think it was somebody with a principal or something like that. Let's just talk a little bit about how it came about for you.
Yeah, you bet. Special Friends starring you on Kazoo was a 30-minute video that came out in 1989, and it was conceived and written and produced by a couple named Melissa and Doug. And Doug just happened to be the son of my elementary school principal. So when they put out word for that they wanted kids to come audition for this, they used the principal network, and they had like 500 kids come out from 6 or 8 different area schools to come, try their hand at being in a video.
Yeah, and you said there's 500 kids. That just makes it even more impressive, and that's kind of a good lead into another question. How much of, I guess, was this the script that made it so interesting? How much of it was just who Brett was as an 8-year-old? I mean, did people watch this and think, "Dang, you were a great actor"? Or are they like, that was just Brett being Brett? Where's it kind of at there?
It is a great script. It's really creative. It's very imaginative. The songs are really fun. The lyrics are fun. It's about singing and pretending. It's about making new friends. So the script is really, it was great work, and it wasn't, I certainly have gotten into acting as I move further, but it was like, I don't know, it was something like proto acting, because I was still being me. It was just, I had the words to say, but I don't know. There's a mushy line between acting and doing, I don't know what to call it, but scripted personality work or something. But it's a lot of me in there, so I'm proud of that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. There you go. What do you remember of the filming? I think I saw that it took place over like one summer. I mean, do you have fond memories? Was it a fun time? Obviously, it was portrayed as a fun time on the video, but what do you remember from that time?
Oh, behind the scenes, it was all just darkness and misery. No.
Oh man.
I'm kidding. It was.
I've talked to some child actors who that's unfortunately the case. So I'm glad that's not the case.
I'm sure if you get into a really, more of a corporate setting, and there's I don't know. This was just a couple who had this passion project that they were doing. Doug already worked in television and video production, and they'd both done creative work for years and years, and they threw themselves into this, and it was so much fun. And Doug's parents came out and kind of wrangled us kids when we weren't, being used, and they always fed us, whatever we wanted. I guess by whatever we wanted, it was like whatever we wanted from this particular deli. But it was great fun. The kids hung out, and they had toys for us to play with and keep us entertained. But yeah, I remember it as being a very positive experience.
Good. I like to hear that for sure. And I never want somebody to have to kind of go back to these things. People should just look these up. But let's say somebody's listening to this. They say, okay, he's the Kazoo Kid. They're having trouble kind of wrapping their head around this. Definitely you don't got to say anything in any of these voices. But what are some of these lines that people remember from this that people are going to be like, oh, now I know who he's talking to, because right now I'm confused.
Yeah, I guess probably the most recognizable is usually, wait a minute, who are you? Wait a minute, who are you?
Yeah.
And then probably fun. And maybe, probably because of the trap remix, I like to sing, dance, pretend, and kazoo. Those are probably the top 3 lines that get, let's say if I post a picture on Instagram of me and my wife on a date, there'll definitely be somebody who just comes up and posts kazoo.
Okay.
Real high effort posts. Real thinkers. Real thinkers. They dig deep for those. But those are the top 3, I think, that get randomly posted on my stuff.
I like that. Yeah, and I want to kind of talk later on about what it's meant now, but I guess, and you can make fun of me for this. I'm sure people have, a lot of people think this way too. Obviously, a lot of us have seen these short little clips. I didn't necessarily realize up until, when I started researching you, that this was a whole 30-minute show, or it was a 30-minute, I guess it was a kind of almost a long infomercial type thing that people bought. How did this work? People bought the VCR tape with the kazoo. Was it teaching them how to play it? Because I mean, I didn't see you like telling them this is where you're going to put your fingers. I don't know how it worked.
The kazoo doesn't really, it's not so much like technically it's not really an instrument on sound. It's more of like a mute that you would put in a trumpet. Like it changes the sound of something starting making sound. It's a vocal, transformer. So you really just sing into it.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so it doesn't require any pushing of buttons or levers or anything. You're just singing into it. And while you sing into it, there's this tiny piece of wax that sits up here. So you sing right through here, and this piece of wax up here vibrates. And when it vibrates, it adds distortion. So instead of you get.
I like it. You've got the kazoo ready.
Always. I have several at the ready all the time. But it wasn't an infomercial because it already came with the kazoo. It was just a 30-minute play along video for kids to watch at home. And it came with the kazoo shrink wrapped to the box. So you could play as soon as you got it home.
Yeah. Was it a much of a success? I know that these people still make toys, so it must have been a complete flop. They lost all their money, but was it something that a lot of people had at the time? Or?
Yeah, it was. So Melissa and Doug is both the couple's name and their company name as well. They continue to make all sorts of children's products, toys and dress up, clothing items and puppets and all sorts of things. They started out selling just to like mom and pop toy stores, just one-off non-franchise toy stores. And they sold a ton of videos. We made the first video that all the memes are from. And then they made two more as well. One that was around jingle bells and another one that was around like a plastic microphone you could sing into. They sold those videos to tons of mom and pop toy stores, starting in the Northeast, because, we made the video, we lived in Connecticut, and spreading across the country to the point where a few years later, I think the video beat out Teddy Ruxpin for like an educational or edutainment product of the year or something like that in California, in some toy competition there. And Teddy Ruxpin, every respect to Teddy, so I felt really good about that.
Yeah, that's not nothing. That's pretty cool.
Right. So no, it was it did really well. And then they continued to grow, and now they sell in Target and Walmart and absolutely everywhere that toys are sold. So they they're very talented, hard work people. So they whether or not this video had worked out, they were gonna make something work out for themselves. But yeah, they kept going. They made the 3 videos, and then they started making puzzles right after that. Fuzzles. They made puzzles that had like a barnyard animal puzzle, but the pig would have like soft pig-like hairs, and then like the bird would have like little feathers that you could touch on it. And that was their first toy product, was their fuzzy puzzles. And then they just made more and more and more and more and more toys.
That's cool. Were you in the other videos?
Yeah. Special Friends starring you on Kazoo was the first one. And then the second video was Ring Along, Sing Along. And that was like a concert style video with me singing songs to kids in the audience. And then, us all sort of playing together. And then the third one was, the second one was Let's Sing Along. That was the microphone. The third one was Ring Along, Sing Along. And that had like jingle bells and more songs. And I sort of remember each one less and less, because the first one was sort of like the big deal. And the second ones were like, yeah, let's see if we can do it again. But they're out there. I think they're on YouTube now too. Some intrepid souls went out and found them and uploaded them to YouTube over the past several years. So they're all available. You can just drink it in.
There you go. And I know obviously you kind of were I looked at the front of the packaging. You kind of got the biggest face. So I assume you're kind of the star of it. Did anyone else have any speaking lines at all? Because you don't see anything about any of the other ones other than them behind you.
Oh yeah, they all have lines in the.
Well, dang! I wonder if they all hate you now. You're the one that made it big on all this. Wow. Yeah, no, definitely. Yep, everybody has lines. Everybody introduces themselves. I think even in the 3-minute cut down version, some people have some lines. Carolyn and now
Hilda.
I kind of remember that. It was kind of a dance and everyone introducing themselves.
Yep, yeah, but the gist is it's me meeting a group of friends who already know each other. And then us all partying together.
I believe it kind of got big in around 2014, 2016. Mm-hmm. In between that time, like, was it just in complete obscurity and you had kind of forgotten about it, or what did it look like once it got big again for you?
It was just kind of, bizarre. People found me on Twitter. My followers went from like 200 to 2,000 to 20,000. I don't know. Yeah, somebody came into a rehearsal I was in for a show one day and said, "Hey, do you know you're on BuzzFeed right now?" It's like, what? So it was, it was weird. It was surprising. But it was always very fun, and interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, during that time in the middle, was it anything you ever even showed anyone, or was it like an afterthought? Like, yeah, it was just something I did as a kid, or you're like, you got to see this. This was an interesting aspect of my life. Or did you even realize,
I kept it under wraps when,
okay.
Before it blew up. It was a thing I did and that was cool, but I wasn't showing it off.
That wasn't your intro music for everything you did?
Not my calling card. No. And I still don't, I don't open with that. I try to get to know somebody first before they figure that out, but
yeah,
first.
And I've talked to some other memes too. And I always do like to ask that, just because I feel like that would be kind of a Trump and a two truths or a lie type of thing. I mean, how often does people figure it out? Is it something that people like known you for years and then they're like, oh my gosh, you never told me this? Or how does that work? Because I guess I talked to another like child actor and I asked them, do you ever tell people, that they say, hey, you look familiar. Do I recognize you from somewhere? They're like, I never, ever tell them like, who I am, because then I'll feel stupid, because they'll be like, no, I thought I went to high school with you. It's somebody else.
Right. Well, nobody recognizes my face because I was an 8-year-old boy at the time. So anybody who I've known like since high school knew about it anyway. And then people beyond that didn't, if I moved to a new job or something, or I start a new gig, I don't like walk in and say it on my first day. I think it's weird. It's off-putting. I'd rather get to know somebody and get them to know me as me, who I am today, and then add the detail. Oh, also there's this, but it's not the first and foremost thing about me. It's certainly the most widely known thing about me, but it's awesome. I'm super proud of it. But no, I don't walk into a room and be like, "Hi, I'm Brett. It's nice to meet you. I am a meme." So respect that. But okay, good day one. Good day one, everybody.
There you go. Yeah. And I mean, how do you feel about it? How do you embrace it? Because I mean, obviously you embrace it enough that we're talking about it now. It's not like you're something you're trying to avoid, but I mean, once it started getting big, obviously people started reaching out, just typing their kazoo comments on your Facebook post. How have you embraced it? Is it something that you look at favorably, or is it like, ugh?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's fun. It's funny. It's, it's the first professional performance work that I did, and I'm still in the same field years later. So no, I love it. And it's great that it's got a life of its own now.
Certainly does. Yeah. What's some of the I guess most interesting ways or your favorite ways that you've seen it used, whether it's the memes I found? I'm sure you've seen it too, because it's got 2.8 million views, that there's somebody that just has your kazoo work on a loop for 10 hours. That's terrifying, really, is what that is.
It's so what obviously I think my favorite thing that I've seen from it is the trap remix that like elevated it. That's better than the original. I think if it weren't for the trap remix, I don't think the meme would have gone as far as it did. It's got legs, which is great. I love that people are still using it, but yeah, I think it owes a lot to the trap remix. And then I don't know, there's a ton of cute ones out there, and then there's some like really weird ones out there too, but they're all good.
Yeah. So you talked about that this toy company's still around. They still probably, I would assume, they're even more successful than they were at that time. Did they go back in 2016? I don't know if they were still busting out the kazoos, but did they capitalize on that and start putting out kazoos again?
They were already still selling kazoos, but no, they just, the Kazoo Kid thing run its own course. That was from so far back in their history. They just kind of let it do its own thing. They didn't attach themselves to it at all.
What's some awesome things that have happened because of this kind of coming about? I know there's several things. I think you're in a game, maybe you've got Cameo, but talk about, I guess, some of the opportunities it's given you.
Yeah. I think my face showed up in some like indie duck hunt type game. What else? Some clothing. People were selling some clothing with my face on it. I'm in the card game What Do You Meme? But I'm in that. I'm in the second version of that as well. And some fun interviews that I've gotten to do. And it's a great conversation piece at parties.
For sure. Yeah. And this question you certainly can, not answer, and we can edit it out. But I've talked to other memes, and they were just getting in on, the whole NFT type thing. Have you been able to monetize, this at all, or is it just a fun thing for you?
Yeah. I mean, I not as far as NFTs go, because I don't own that. It's not mine to work with. But I'm as far as working with What Do You Meme? That was, we did business together.
Okay.
And one or two other opportunities like that. Nothing major.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to monetize it at least a little bit, given that memes are such an interesting thing where they're kind of out in the world, and a lot of times people just kind of lose them, and they kind of do get a life of their own. When I was talking to the other memes, it was right before the NFTs, and they were like, so far I haven't been able to monetize it. Now, thankfully, they have. But yeah,
Disaster Girl made a killing selling her NFT.
Well, that's exactly who I talked to. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it was like a few weeks before she actually sold the NFT, and we talked about, what could come of that. And I don't think she had any expectations of what was really going to come of it.
Right. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, no, she was a cool person for sure. I guess the other question is a little bit, you talked about how you don't get recognized. Obviously, you're 8 years old. I think now you can kind of see, obviously, you're the same person. So it's not easily just going to recognize you, but you do look a little bit like that. But has it ever happened, any recognizing? And then also I want you to kind of tell the story, because it's one of my favorite, once I've seen some of your interviews about right before this kind of took off, somebody seeing you in a coffee shop, and he had a friend named Brett.
Yeah. I was living in Boulder, Colorado, and I was in a sandwich shop, and I'm chatting with this little kid. I've done a ton of theater for young audience work. So whenever I see little kids, I'm just like ready to engage with them. So I was chatting with this little dude, and I said, "What's your name?" And he said, "I think Tyler," or something like that. And he said, "What's your name?" And I said, "My name's Brett." And he said, "Oh, I have a friend named Brett." And he kind of wandered off. And I said, "Oh, who's your friend named Brett?" And his mom said, "Well, he doesn't have a real friend named Brett. He watches this video with this kid named Brett." And I was like a video with like a blonde kid with a bowl cut and a kazoo. She says, "Oh, you know that video?" I know it really well, lady. So yeah, that was like, I was like, "How does he have a copy of this video?" And she was like, "It belonged to his uncle, my brother, when my brother was like 8, and now he's a grown man, and now this little dude watches it." So I'm like, this has to be the only kid left in the United States of America who's still watching an original VHS. And I just met him, and he just told me. Like, the chances of it all coming together are just bizarre. But yeah, so I posted a little story about that on Facebook at the time, and a couple days later, an old friend of mine sent me the first meme that I saw with my face on it, and I was like, "Oh, did you just make that because of that story I posted?" And he was like, "I didn't make it. I just found this," and then they just started coming more and more. It's crazy.
It is crazy. So did you let the kid know that it was you? I don't know, that may freak him out, that, hey, this is an adult man now what is my friend on this VCR tape.
I think I explained it to his mom first, and then I think probably, or she tried to sort of explain it to him, but that doesn't really make any sense to get that age. Like, even when I was 8 years old and 9 years old, sometimes I would go with Doug, and we would do like a personal appearance at a toy store or at a kid's birthday party or something. And kids who loved the video, who'd watched it a bunch of times, sometimes they'd be like, oh my gosh, it's Brett. That's so cool. And other times they'd be like, you're not Brett. Brett lives in TV. You're not Brett. And I'm like, look at me, I'm wearing the shirt. It's literally me. This is my bowl cut. I have the kazoo. They're like, no. Brett lives in the TV. So you're not Brett. So yeah, the fact that a grown man at the time was definitely not, he would not accept that. So I don't think we pushed that too hard on him. Like, yeah, I'm Brett. He's like, yeah, you said your name's Brett, but not this Brett. Yeah, no, that's Brett. No.
I like that.
I wasn't born yesterday. Come on.
That's funny. And I feel for 8-year-old you having to explain your own existence. Like, nah, that's not you. That's not you.
I'm me. I'm me.
Gosh, that's funny. And I hadn't heard that you did, personal appearances afterwards. I mean, was it the coolest thing in the world? Did you feel like a superstar at the time? I know with Disaster Girl, once it finally got big, it kind of got big in different times. And one time it got big, she was like 11 years old. And she said when she went to school, she felt like everyone was going to be asking for her autograph. Like she felt like she was the coolest person ever. So how did you feel when as a kid, how did you feel when you were doing these appearances and stuff? Did you feel like you were, I don't know who was the star at that time. I don't know. I'm going to say Macaulay Culkin, but that's actually a little later probably.
No, Macaulay Culkin was like my idol. I wanted to be best friends with Macaulay Culkin. I guess I hadn't thought about that in a while, but I guess at the time I felt oddly professional. Like I knew that it was a personal appearance performance gig and I was the performer. And I went in and I smiled and I waved and we sang the songs and I encouraged kids to play along and I tried to make sure everybody was included. I tried to make sure everybody was having a good time. And I felt like a professional performer, which I bleeping love being more than so many things in the world. It makes me so happy to be a professional performer. But yeah, that's that. I think I just stepped right into the gig at the time as doing a personal appearance, knowing like this is my gig for the next 90 minutes. Is we're gonna hang out here, we're gonna sing some songs, we're gonna make sure everybody has a good time, and then afterwards, I'm gonna get paid and I'm gonna get a roast beef sandwich. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I think that's probably, that having that mentality and having that professionalism is probably what's kept you in it for so long. I want to talk about that here in a moment, but I want to ask one more question kind of about once it kind of took off again. You mentioned, pictures of your wife. I don't know whether she was around at that time, but what was that like? I think it would be weird for you, but I also think it would be so weird for maybe a significant other now to be like, my significant other's gotten famous off of when he was 8 years old, this video. That would just be so weird. Like, a confessional. I am married to the Kazoo Kid.
Yeah, it was strange. And it certainly like, my ego, swelled for a moment because I had tons of Twitter followers all of a sudden who like wanted to ask me questions. And so I like, so I was probably like checking my Twitter too often, like just looking to that if I were needing a lift or something. But and I'm sure I know that it was weird for her only in the idea that like, yeah, my husband is like has this like internet notoriety now, except he only has it with his 8-year-old boy face. So it's like there's this weird disconnect between like who I married and who people are talking about, So yeah, I'm sure that was a little strange, but I think it's pretty much 99.99% positive.
And I want to talk about what you're up to now, but that kind of just leads into some of the issues. I feel like you've got to have a really good, I guess, honestly, some good mental health about you to be able to handle it. I really feel like we've spent 80% of this interview talking about your 8-year-old self, and you've done so much and done such awesome stuff since then that I want to talk about. But does it ever wear you out that, like, this is not me? I've done so much other stuff and everyone just wants to talk about me when I was 8 years old.
I mean, I get the attraction. It's the meme has taken off. It's got a life of its own. It's got legs. It's been stuck around for a while. So obviously nobody's going to email me out of the blue from Australia and say, hey, Brett, we heard that you're doing a production in Denver and we'd like you to talk about it on our morning show, because not that many people are going to be as excited about that as, hey, you're this kid who's in this meme that 1 billion people have seen. We want to talk to you about that. So I get that that's what people want to talk about. And I think it only serves me to go ahead and talk about it because I am also still a performer and I am still in that same field. So if more people hear about it and more people know about it, that's better for me. So they support each other.
For sure. So let's talk about, those other things. After 8 years old, you went on to continue being a performer. I see behind you, you've got, I don't know whether it's a bass or something, but you're still musically inclined. You still perform. Talk a little bit about your kind of life after the videos, what performances you've done, and kind of that transition into I don't know, Kazoo Man. I feel like that's a bad joke, but
no, I embrace the Kazoo Man namesake. But so I performed in those videos when I was like 8, 9, and 10 years old, and continued in that vein. I lived in Connecticut, so I went into New York. I met with a few agents. I got an agent. Auditioned for a handful of commercials and things. Ended up working with doing some voiceover work when I was still a kid with Random House. I recorded a handful of Dr. Seuss videos, and it would be like one VHS cassette with a big story narrated by a big star and a smaller story narrated by a smaller non-star. But it'd be like Cat in the Hat, and it'd be narrated by like Billy Crystal or Walter Matthau or Ted Danson. I think those were all names on cassettes that I was the B-side to, doing like Scrambled Egg Super or If I Ran the Circus, lesser known Seuss stories. So it did work with them, did work with Random House. Then high school, I did absolutely every theater production I could get my hands on, including shows I wasn't supposed to do, like working behind the scenes on the senior show when I was a junior, and just everything they would ever allow me to do. Went to college, sang a bunch in college in an a cappella group, did a little bit of theater. And then once I got out of college, I just went back to doing more and more theater. And I've been doing that ever since I graduated college in like 2003. So been doing theater in Richmond, Virginia, and in Missouri, around St. Louis, and all around Colorado as well. And right now I'm in the last month of a 6-month run of a show called The Other Josh Cohen at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts in Denver, Colorado. It's about a poor schlub of a human being who goes through a really rough year, but it turns out all right for him in the end. We know because the show is narrated by Josh 1 year in the future. So there's Josh narrator and Josh, current Josh, and then 3 other actors play 30 to 40 other characters throughout the course of the show, and play multiple instruments throughout the course of the show. It's very funny and very uplifting and a very good time. The Other Josh Cohen, go check it out at the DCPA.
The Other Josh Cohen. No, that's really cool. So, I mean, I assume that this is kind of what you want to continue doing in life. That's, I mean, what do you hope the future holds for you?
Just entertaining. I absolutely love entertaining. I've self-taught on a handful of instruments, some of which I've been lucky enough to play on stage. God, if I can just, sing, basically, if I can sing, dance, pretend, and if I can have kazoo stand in for any old instrument, that's the line there, man. That's life. So yeah, I've been performing professionally since I was 8 years old, and that's pretty much what I'd like to do for the next foreseeable future.
Well, that's really awesome. I'm glad that you were able to, I guess, kind of continue on with that passion, because I don't feel like that's always the case with child stars. I talked to another one who was in a Disney Channel movie, so obviously that was a pretty big deal. But now he does, he builds cabinets, which he loves, but that he just moved away from it. So I love to hear that you were really able to stick with it, and that's something that's kind of been your passion, and something you, I guess, provided for you. I mean, you've got a cool bass behind you, so apparently it's done all right.
No lie, that was actually a gift. That was a grand gift that I received once. Beautiful. But yeah, we're getting by.
Very good. Well, tell people how they can connect with you. I don't know whether, I mentioned earlier about Cameo. I don't know whether you're still doing that or not, but tell us how people, they say, oh my gosh, now I remember I want to make sure I follow along with Brett and see what his next show is going to be. How can they connect with you?
Absolutely. I'm on Twitter at Brett Ambler. I'm on Insta at Brett.Ambler. And I'm on Cameo as well. If you're looking for a shout out, I would be absolutely delighted. At Brett Ambler, I think. I don't know how you reach. Just search, I guess. Just search me up. Or Kazoo Kid. If you search Kazoo Kid on Cameo, it'll take you straight to there.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much. It was a pleasure.
So that was Brett Ambler. Awesome guy. So glad I got to talk with him. I love doing these Where They Are Nows. I just think it's so cool to see somebody who was kind of a sensation, a blip on our radar, got super big with these memes. Something that happened so long ago is always such an interesting thing to me where, people just living their lives, something they did in the past, not even thinking about it. And then all of a sudden the internet takes a hold of something and makes you part of a game and talking to people on podcasts and all this crazy stuff. Just think it's an interesting thing, and I'm so happy to hear Brett's still in acting, still doing amazing things, still just a really cool guy. Obviously he's this is 30 years later. He's a grown man and not 8-year-old Brett, but I can still kind of hear that passion. He's still kind of that spunky guy. So I really enjoyed speaking with him. Go check him out. He is a professional actor. If you're in the Denver area, sounds like he maybe moves around a little bit, but if you're in that area or want to check him out and see what that next show he's going to be in, follow his social media. They'll all be in the show notes. He mentioned them at the end. You want a cameo from Kazoo Kid? Go get him on Cameo. I definitely recommend that. He was a pleasure to speak with. I know he'll do a good job with that. But yeah, so happy to speak with him. Check him out. Check us out. If you're not already following us on Instagram, go do that. Not in a Huff Podcast, jacksonhuff.com. We got a Facebook page for the podcast. Maybe most importantly, get on Spotify, get on Apple. Give us those 5 stars. Write a review on Apple. That's always amazing. Really appreciate that. But yeah, check us out on all those things. Check out Brett. And most importantly, check us out again next week where we'll have another amazing guest. But really glad you were here. Glad Brett was here. Take it away, Chris.
This has been Not in a Huff with Jackson Huff. Thank you for listening. Be sure to join us next time where we will interview another amazing guest who is sure to make you laugh or make you think. Or hey, maybe even both. But until then, keep being awesome.